Okay.
Yeah, well, I got this one up. Your computer needs to restart. Just cancel.
Postpone.
Yeah.
Okay. So, statistics, information, metrics, tracking. These are things you need to be aware of. So, if you're looking at domain names, there's several services, several websites where you can get quite a bit of information for free. No charge, no problem. As Tom was saying, the zone files for all the GTLDs are available from ICANN. So if you want to, you can download zone files, you can parse them, you can pull data out of them. That's going to take time, energy, and effort. The sites like NTLD Stats have done all the work for you. So the kind of thing these guys do is they have overall head view, so number of new TLD domains registered that they've got a count on. So you can see here, that's a live view, about 4.9 million domains. How many signed zones? How many zones have got DNSSEC? 47,515, so it's less than 1%. So anybody who tells me that DNSSEC is a way to sell domain names is a little bit delusioned. Number of new TLDs that are live, those are the strings. Number of registrars selling new TLDs, and the number of registries who are operating them. Okay? And then you have over here, they give a headline of the strings themselves. You've got .xyz, which we've talked about a bit. .xyz, it's cheap, it's open to everybody. You can read about their marketing tactics, but let's just say there's a reason why they've got large volumes. There's a Chinese one which I can't pronounce. .club has done very well. .berlin, they ran a promotion, I think within the first month or so that they launched with one of the large German registrars. .wang, is that a brand one or is that open? I can't remember.
You know, I want to say it's a surname, but I'm not sure.
Then you've got .realtor, which we all know that Tom is the only registrar for .realtor. What does Tom do? He's the only registrar for .realtor. Yes, I know. Okay, then you've got .guru. .guru was one of the first new TLDs to launch. So there's quite a few registrations there, probably because people wanted something to play with. Who knows? .science is doing well. Anybody know why?
No, $1.
Because they're $1. There's a lot of registrars are doing them for like $1. The registry is running a very, very aggressively priced promotion. So a lot of registrars are practically giving the domains away for free. I mean, in fact, one registrar is giving them away for free. And for us as a registrar, we've set the price at €2.55, which with our local tax makes it €3.14, which is 3.14, 3.14?
Let's see those.
Okay, you missed that reference completely. There's no engineers here, are there? Pi? I don't know why I bother. I mean, you know, my marketing team and I, we spent hours coming up with these things. Cool.
What an idea.
Come on, I thought this, the Arabs invented numbers. And what you do, I try these things. I tried so hard. Okay, so what you can do is you can go in at the top. You'll see the registrar, registry, backend. So we talked about the backend providers over the last couple of days. So you can go in, you can see well how many TLDs each backend has. You can go into a particular registrar. So if there's loads. So you see, as expected, GoDaddy is the largest registrar, followed by Network Solutions. But then the rest of the list, it's a bit all over the place. If you compare the list of registrars by size in new TLDs versus registrars by size in legacy TLDs, the list is a bit different. Not the same, for a number of reasons. So you see the growth, you see the breakdown. There's a full list of all registrars. We're we're on here somewhere, but we're probably quite far down. Yeah, we're 143rd. We're not very big. So we're 143, we've only sold 483 domains. Yeah, only 483 domains across all new TLDs, which is kind of pathetic. I sell more .ie domain names in a week without trying. So you can get lots of information there, lots of statistics. So if you want to see what's happening with all the new TLDs, loads of information. Excuse me? Search and circle. Okay, come on. So he's number 63 and he has 7,500. Significantly bigger than us.
But go to name check.
Excuse me?
Name check.
Name share. You've got two registrars, don't you? That's cheating. God damn it. Name. SAS?
No, name share.
Hey.
Misspelled it.
No, there's no name share.
Where are you?
Oh, right, sorry.
There you go.
Wow.
Wow, that's big.
54,000.
That's all dot realtor.
That's all about real.
Because Tom is the only registrar for dot realtor. Yeah, come on, say it with me loud and clear. You'll go back to home after spending a week with the two of us, and what will you have learned? In Circle is the only registrar for dot realtor.
So you register.
Yes, we can say it in different ways too. Sorry, Tom, couldn't resist. Now you can dig into a lot of different things. You can go in, say if you take 2 cards, for example. If you go into the 2 cards page, which will load eventually, hopefully, you can see that it's split by TLD. And if you look at each TLD, you can see what phase it's in, whether it's in Sunrise, Landrush, GA, whatever. All the information is there. That's not loading for me, so never mind. Another one to look at. If I can get this to behave. Oh, there's the TLD thing loaded. So another one we mentioned, I think already, webhosting.info. Webhosting.info. If you want to get information about a bunch of different things, you can search by type. So you can search by domain name, you can search by IP address, you can search by hosting provider name, and they also give a ranking by country. So you can go in and you can get a list of the top 20 hosting companies in a particular company. Country, I mean, sorry. But be careful. Webhosting.info doesn't look at country codes. It only looks at ComNet or InfoBiz. So it's not going to give you the kind of 100% clear record for in a lot of countries.
Can you do Egypt?
Sure.
Nigeria?
Hold on. How do I do a search for this? I'm trying to remember. I haven't used this website in a while. Let's do web hosts. Web hosts. Okay. So here we go. It actually brings up, because it does GeoIP, so it brings up top 10 web hosting companies in, what's top 15 web hosting companies in Egypt. So it says link.net is number 1, tdata number 2, and I can't decipher what that is. The rest of those ones look like kind of generated names. But anyway, so linknet and tdata. Who's from linknet? It's the same company?
Yeah.
Oh God, it's like a board, isn't it? Be careful, we will consume you. Okay, so that gives you data there, and you can go in further. Probably not, no. It's not 100% accurate. It's a good barometer. Like you'll see people talking in other places about Alexa ranking, Alexa ranking is worthless, it's no value, it's not accurate, but it is a starting point, gives you an idea. And that's not loading, is it? I think that's kind of dead. Or is it loading? What's loading? It's crazy.
You go back to 2000, we'll show 2000.
Yeah, let's have a look at 2 while we wait for that to load. Nothing like a live demo. Nothing, of course, works. So, looking at 2 switching back to mtldstats.com, you can see 2 they obviously have some very active resellers in the UK because they have a lot of .london domains. 106,000 total, 65% of those are in .london.
Wow.
That's actually, I wasn't expecting that.
That's huge.
That is huge. And .london is an interesting one because the registry has reserved a huge number of names. Huge. Okay, you go looking for common word .london, it's registry reserved. You can't register the domain.
I wonder if there's a registry name.
I don't know. Maybe.
Because they're up in Canada. It doesn't make sense that it'd be so strong in London.
They've got a very big reseller base in the UK.
Yeah.
Very strong. But they could be, some of these domains could be for the registry. I don't know. I have no idea. We don't have that kind of visibility, and they're not going to tell us.
So what's happening in a lot of these new TLDs is the registries are actually reserving a lot of names for themselves. So we can show you Uni Registry in a second. This is run by the biggest domainer on the internet. And he has made it a practice of once they launch, he reserves all the good names to himself. So he can resell them later at a higher price.
Which is fine. I mean, it's a bit kind of iffy in some places, but yeah, who cares? I mean, you know, whatever. Let's see if the web hosting info thing has loaded.
No.
No. Okay, so much for that experiment. Webhosting.info, which I'm not going to bother going back to because the damn page won't load properly.
Just finished.
Oh, did it? Oh, okay.
Like,
Woohoo!
or did that fail?
Okay, there you go. So it gives you a nice graph of the size, and it's the usual kind of thing. You've got 1 or 2 companies that have a lot of the bulk of the market, then it tails off, and it gets really, really small. Of course, the numbers vary by country. You can also do with webhosting.info, you can look at things like, if you go into each hosting company, you can see things like new registrations, transfers in, transfers out, expired. You can get quite a bit of information. Just as I said, it's only for ComNet or InfoBiz. There's no CCTLD data. But it's a good starting point. For CCTLD data, there isn't a huge amount of it available online. How do I open a new tab? So my friend John McCormack, crazy guy based in southeast of Ireland. He lives in a town called Waterford. It's actually a city. John has been crunching numbers to do with domain names and hosting for years. His background is in encryption and cryptography. You remember about 15 years ago, you all had to change your satellite dish decoders. Do you know why? He cracked the bloody code. He cracked the code. This guy's he's a serious crypto guy. He's an interesting character. But what he's done is, instead of just taking his own file data, he takes a whole load of other data and he rebuilds the data that isn't published. Like he'll take what's published as well, but he maps a lot of stuff out. It's quite interesting. So he can do things like giving you details on some of the country codes that really aren't available anywhere else. So he doesn't have all country codes, we have quite a few. So if you look there he's got like, you know, .us, .me, .no, and he's adding to it all the time. Other things that he does that's kind of interesting is the domain history feature, which I really like.
Why don't you do a search for .eg, see if you have anything.
He has in the database. I sent it to Bahir yesterday.
Okay.
He doesn't have a huge amount of data on them though. So let's say if we take a domain, say, I know that domain exists. Okay, that's actually not very interesting. Damn it, I'm the only person who's ever had that domain. We find a domain which has a bit of history. Let's say, okay, let's do sex.com. Let's have history. Hopefully you have it. Whatever loads. Please God load. There you go. So you can bring up quickly and easily. You get like the name server history of a domain name. This is kind of interesting if you want to see how a domain was being used. The name servers can tell you a lot. Like, so you know, Rackspace. If somebody's using Rackspace, for example, it's probably being used for an actual website. Whereas if you look at dsredirection.com, DS redirection is only for part. DS redirection is used for actual content. So there's a lot. You can get a bit of some interesting information from that. He also does a cross TLD comparison. So you can see things like down here, you know, what is happening with, so you got .com, the red one is .net, the other one is .org, what about .info, .mobi, and you can also pull in other stuff. You get web archive links and everything else. The guy also makes money by producing custom reports. So you can go to John and say, right, I'm interested in knowing what's happening in, I don't know, Nigeria or Kenya or whatever. He will then send you, every month, he will send you a report with all the hosting providers in that country, their growth, their share, their market share, the transfers between them, everything. It's kind of cool. We're subscribed to it. We pay them a few thousand a year. What other data do we want to look at?
So there's like data provider, I don't know, data provider.nl is another provider that analyzes.
What do they do?
They analyze, I think, type of content on a website. They're at things on as well.
Okay.
So there's a lot of data sources out there that you could pull together to analyze your marketplace and better understand what's happening in it.
Like for us as a company, we use poster stats to keep track of market share, to see what our competitors are doing, and see things like if there's activity, like what's happening. Is company A gaining a lot? Are they losing a lot? What's happening with them? Because we're not going to look at it every single day. We use domain tools as well to get data. So you can subscribe to domain tools, you can set up, so you can get like a daily or a weekly report looking at additions to your competitor's name servers, for example. So I want to know, what is my biggest competitor doing? Are they gaining domains or losing domains? I mean, they could be making money from other things, but domains are an interesting metric. The NTLD stats, you can see what's happening with the TLD. So the TLDs that are growing are ones that people might want to register. And web hosting.info, we've already looked at a bit.
All right, thanks. So one thing, before you leave, I do have another evaluation form, so make sure you fill that at the top.
Pretty much we're early.
We're not leaving yet.
Okay.
I just want to make sure you get this.
Okay, boss.
What I would like to do, though, is go over these SWOT analysis. Our team wants to finish direct, but let's do it all together.
Okay.
All right? So I'm going to suggest we have a discussion, have people present each of the slides, then you guys we can have a group discussion about
Okay,
some
so
of the missing ones.
I think our friend from Kenya can help with this. Okay, sorry, Nigeria. She's getting upset. I confused countries. It's not intentional. You can talk about our, can't you?
Talk about,
The SWOT analysis.
research.
Okay. She's too cold to talk about anything. So I can talk about ours if you want.
Sure.
Okay. So
I have a question regarding this. Do you find if I have some statistics about our reseller that I share with my website with Google?
it can be. Some of the registries are very, very upfront about the data. They share a lot of the data. So for example, .eu, they provide data about the top 100 registrars that they do the top whatever per country. I'm not sure if it's 100% public, but all the other registrars can definitely see it. .be, the Belgian registry, publish it. VeriSign publishes all that stuff, so you can work that. It's not, everybody wants to know, so you might as well just publish it anyway. For the .ie CCTLD, there was a big debate because some of the smaller registrars didn't want the information to be made public, which was kind of silly because we were all getting the data from Hostess Stats and elsewhere anyway. So in the end, we convinced them to publish the data without the registrar name as a compromise, and then eventually I forced them to reevaluate and start adding the names because it was a pain in the neck for me to have to try and go through the columns every month and work out which one we were. So usually the answer was the big one.
Both VeriSign and PIR, which runs .org, will do things like this. So they publish a dashboard every quarter. So it's somewhat high level. So I don't think there's anything confidential here. But they're talking about names under management. They're talking about whether or not it's increasing or decreasing. Their renewal rate. So they're saying we have 73.7. And then they talk about domains by top 10 countries. This is .org. So obviously U.S. has 56%. You have Germany, U.K., Canada, France, Japan, China, Spain, Italy, and Netherlands. And then they start to talk about some trends in the data. So this is put out every quarter. I think it's interesting that we're also able to look at the type of content that .org domain names are being used for, right? And so they can tell you the biggest segment for .org is information, yeah, then manufacturing, arts, and entertainment, and so on. So they put this out every quarter. They just put one out a few days ago as well. Clearly they understand their customer base, not only geographically, but also in terms of industry sector. So nice little info, it's an infographic again that this registry is putting out. And there are content analysis tools that would do this kind of work for you.
I mean, you could do some of it yourself. I mean, you could do, okay, as the registry, you have the list of all the domains. So you have access to a lot of data already.
You know what I would do if I were you? I would contact these guys, right? They're a nonprofit too, but I like VeriSign. They're a nonprofit. In fact, they are trying to serve the global market and different in Africa, South America, sector, saying, can you help us in our marketplace? Right? They might be able to do some analysis for you. It's worth a shot. What do you have to lose? Right? At least maybe, so it's sort of like there is a CCNSO. This is kind of a best practice, right, for TLD registries. This might be something to discuss at the next ICANN meeting. You know, getting CCs to work together to come up with a set of tools they all could use to analyze their marketplace.
I mean, some of the other, I don't know what happens in the African region, but like say in the European region, Centre produces a lot of reports to help for their members. So some of it is based on surveys. If you're on centre.org, a lot of the stuff is downloadable, but not everything. But as a CCTLD, you have easier access to some of that data than I would have. LACTLD do similar things. So, I don't know, who's running the African one?
DNS.
Yeah, but who's running it? Who's the head honcho? Who's the boss? Who's the main man or woman? I don't know.
You know, org has 10 million names, so they, you know they did this programmatically somehow. And they might be able to share that.
I mean, there's a lot of this, there's ways of doing it. I know like Poster Stats, he's done a lot of this analysis as well by parsing his own file, and then using a simple spider to go out and spider a whole, however many thousand websites, and then just bringing back at its first level, HTTP response code. So how is it responding? If your spider goes out, are you a programmer? No, okay. No programmers here?
Yeah, there are.
What more programmers here?
There are.
Programmers. Any of you programmers?
Used
Used to be. Okay.
I
Are you familiar with curl or wget? No?
Yes, comments, I think.
Yeah, so curl and wget will emulate a browser, so you can get back, using curl or wget, you can get back the HTTP response code, for example. So you can even say, okay, these ones redirect, these ones are throwing a 404. I mean, even that bit of information is useful. But as Tom says, talk to PIR, talk to the other country codes. Some of the bigger ones have a lot of resources, and they're spending a lot of time, energy, and effort doing these things. And some of them are happy to help.
So let's talk about vision for .eg.
Okay, so vision for .eg. We were looking at this. So yes. Okay.
About the reachability of each TLD to search engines. For example, is it better to make my website .info or .science in the perspective of Google?
Okay.
Right.
So some companies have already been doing some of that analysis. So what they do is they look at things like, say, the Alexa top 1,000, top 1 million, to see which domain extensions are in there, and then by country you can see which extensions. So if you go to Alexa,
I just did all the pages in Google ending in .eg. So it says 110 million pages. If I say, show me everything that's com.eg, that's 103 million.
Where did he get that from?
excuse me?
Where did he get the 103?
These are the number of pages indexed by, not domain names, but pages.
Pages.
Pages, URLs, right?
There's URLs that it knows about.
3 million gov.eg, 3 million pages are URLs. Yeah.
No,
So that's one way. You can compare that to other CCTLDs. So we look at.
That's one way of doing it. I mean, there's, you can look at Alexa. You can look at. You go to moz.com, moz.com. They have a suite of tools for helping you with getting search engine data. So there, .ng, 149 million results. How many domains are in .ng? Okay, so it's still got plenty of room for growth. Yeah.
Any other questions? Let's talk about the vision for the .eg registry.
Okay, so one of the ideas was, I think the key takeaway was to make .eg one of the top 10 CCTLDs in the region. That was the kind of the vision, the mission.
So what region are we talking about?
Middle East or Africa?
Middle East and Africa. It's a big region. What's a big region?
Okay.
But it's Egypt, but it straddles both. Like we were trying to discuss this over dinner last night, they couldn't decide whether they were Asian or African or Arab. It got very confusing.
Or Irish.
Or Irish. But everybody wants to be Irish. So the other thing, so part of the mission was to increase the usage of the .eg domain. Not too sure the professional look referred to. build on the identity. So the idea is we're going to kind of thrash that out a bit further to come up like a mission statement. That's what we've got so far. Then we were looking at the strengths of the .eg.
But before you move on,
Sorry.
we talked about our vision.
Okay, your vision. Sorry, your
You
vision.
want to lead this? Come on. Okay, I'll do the first page. So we said we want to be the top domain name provider in Egypt. So of any TLD.
So it's similar to us.
Right. But we're not just talking about the region. We're saying we want to be .com.
In where?
In Egypt.
Yeah, but we looked at the entire region.
We're talking about the entire world.
Oh, you want to be the first name provider in the world?
Or Egyptian.
Oh, for Egyptians.
Right.
There's choice, yeah.
All right.
There's choice.
And it's all about increasing the Egyptian presence on the internet. Right. So-
Jingoistic, I don't know what. Okay, fine. All right, so you had a focus on Egyptians. We were being nice. We were looking at it from a kind of more, you know. You see, this is the difference, you know. Pure capitalism against benevolent capitalism.
All right, go on. What are the strengths?
Strengths, trusted. We felt it was trusted. It's as a TLD, as a brand, there's trust. The renewal rate is very strong, so the strong retention is not losing customers. The brand name we thought was good. I mean, we like the fact that it's got nick.eg, DNS.eg. These are good, strong domains. There's a massive market potential, so we think that's a strength. Plenty of room for growth. It's used by academic institutions, by pretty much all of them, which again we thought was a strength because academic institutions are trusted. It's stable, they haven't had any outages. And because it's underdeveloped, there's plenty of choice, plenty of good domain names available to register.
All right, I think we echoed a lot of the same things. The strength is obviously the trust, the identity as Egyptian, the fact that it signals that you have a local presence, that you provide local support. It signals that you're part of the local Egyptian community and culture, which is very important for a lot of businesses here in Egypt. It says it's well established, so it wasn't launched last year. It's been around for over a decade. It does have some guidelines and policies, which was seen as both a strength and a weakness. Talk about the fact it supports local culture. Again, it has its own data center, so it's reliable, it's secure, it's been available non-stop, 7/24, 365. It has several well-established brands in Egypt, well-known trademark owners and big brands that are actively using the TLD as their website, and it's got 50 resellers as part of its reseller check.
This is the moment does not registrars. Okay, next we looked at was weaknesses. The first one that we picked on was the logo. Because we hate it. Essentially, the logo is the visual identity of the brand. Okay, but we agreed that was easy to fix as well. We did agree on that. Okay. Another potential weakness was price, because it's competing against .com. So if it's more expensive than .com, that's a weakness. The policies, which you have down as a strength, we have down as a major weakness, because the policies are very...
Actually, it's a weakness also.
Oh, I'm sure it is, but I'm doing my weaknesses first, so please wait. The registration process we saw as a weakness, because it's very manual. Adoption, take-up, and usage is low. The population of Egypt is 70 million, you only have 10,000 names, not exactly a roaring success. We looked into some of the technical stuff and we discovered that they don't have a proper DR setup.
Yes, but we are going.
I know you're going to. I'm doing a swap on
No, I told you before.
I know. No, we're trying to do a swap analysis of what you have.
It's Mubarak's fault, all right?
Okay?
It's all
But
Mubarak.
it's not
Don't worry about it.
long-term plan.
Okay, we know you're going to fix it.
Our motto is the business good, it's not coming yet.
Okay, anyway, okay, I think I should also add in a strength here.
Are you done?
No, employees are very loyal. No formal contracts. We saw that as a weakness. Limiting itself to the Egyptian market. Even if you do allow non-Egyptians, it's because the rules are so complex, you're essentially limiting yourself. Complex rules, the paperwork, the restrictions. We also said that the lack of a no dispute resolution process was a weakness. My view on this was that for a big brand, this would be a risk. And again, another one is awareness.
Okay. What we had was, we talked about limited budget, and the point here, I guess, was it's not self-sustaining as a registry. So although it brings in revenue, the revenue is not enough to cover its costs.
But the other thing as well, the revenue is not going to it.
And so that kind of gets back to organizational structure, in the sense that it doesn't have its own self-contained organization, right? You don't have all resources aren't yours. You either have to share them with other groups, or sometimes they get pulled off to work on other things. And so that's a weakness compared to your competitors. It is more expensive, lack of contracts, lack of automation, lack of marketing, both to the end users to raise awareness, as well as what we talked about earlier, supporting your sales channel and making sure they have certain incentives. Restrictive policy we talked about. And so then we started getting into things about the brand itself and saying the current perception is .eg is seen as too local, right? Whereas over here we see it as a strength, being local, providing local support. It's a better cachet to be seen as an international type of business.
Which is kind of similar to our one with the limiting itself as well, limiting itself to the Egyptian market.
So people might use the .com domain name because they say we're bigger than just Egypt, we serve a global market. The complicated procedures. This is kind of an issue which is kind of related to whether or not local is a good thing, is being associated with the Egyptian national brand, as opposed to being associated with what's happening in Germany or Japan or the US, right? So it's kind of tied to, .eg is tied to Egypt. So your perception of the EGs is kind of tied to your perception of Egypt as a national brand within the global community.
I see my guys were much more pro-Egyptian.
And then we talk about organization type, the fact it's part of the government and it's nonprofit. But I think the bigger issue there was the fact that it's not a self-contained organization. And finally, what we've been talking about this afternoon, the lack of marketing data. You know, what percentage of the customers have working websites, what kind of content are on those websites, how many of your market is actually going through other TLDs and why? You know, that kind of competitive and market intelligence doesn't seem to be available.
Another one which I forgot to mention, because it ended up at the top, another weakness we saw was lack of stakeholder engagement. So, because they don't have any facility at the moment to talk to the local internet community, local tech community, that could be a weakness. Okay, moving on. Opportunities. So an interesting one came up was that the registry could forge a partnership with local chambers of commerce. The Egyptian market is huge. It is, I mean, come on, 70 million. There's a lot of potential there. The economy in Egypt is developing, so it's getting better. So that means it's an opportunity. There's plenty of names available for people to register, so we saw that as being a positive. The sales channel, as you mentioned over there, is largely untapped. So at the moment there's only a handful of companies that are actually engaging in it all. Other opportunities will be new businesses coming up in the market, startups. There's a lot of investment in education and training in Egypt, so there's plenty of growth in the native ICT culture, infrastructure rather. We also think that tourism would be a great place to do more on this, and also expansion of e-gov services. These are all opportunities.
So just to add on to that, again, we think perhaps a good marketing message would be to help boost national pride and say, if you're a business in Egypt, you should have a .eg domain name and show you're proud of your country. Like the perhaps the cross-marketing with the tourism campaigns, there are a lot of government agencies that spend a lot of money promoting Egypt in all kinds of international forums. Tourism is one of them. They take out full-page ads in the New York Times promoting tourism.
But these are terrible domain.
Make sure they have a .eg domain name.
Yeah, so,
Right.
so you want tourism.eg or visit.egypt.eg.
Right. And so, and there are, and just like you mentioned, there's a German house that was being run by probably the Commerce Department of the German government. There's probably other agencies within your government that run these kind of special marketing for overseas. Make sure they're promoting your .eg TLD. We didn't quite, we're still working on this when we broke. So here's an opportunity if you have some other ideas about opportunities. What are some other opportunities that you see for .eg? You know, how can it leverage some of its strengths and help itself in this market? Any ideas?
No? Come on. Think out of the box. Excuse me?
They need other services.
I already said that.
I
Something
think somebody
new,
else
come on.
already, but you
Mr. Kenya.
I think because of the very vibrant youth in Egypt, probably we could do celebrity endorsements.
Okay.
Celebrity endorsements, okay, that's a nice one. Somebody gave us the statistics earlier this afternoon about the demographic. There's something.
60% are under 40. Yes, I heard this in the television.
But it's okay. It's a very high percentage.
Yes, it is. Percent of people under 40.
So celebrity endorsements. Any other ideas?
So just
I know you don't.
yes, I mean, I like to build on that idea. Do students get email addresses? Do schools give out email addresses to their students?
Do universities?
The
No,
universities for the staff,
for the
not
staff.
for the.
Not for the students?
Some universities.
The national one, I think so.
Sorry, this is me doing my shocked face. Oh my God.
So giving them an email address in .eg early on, they'll keep it forever, right?
Yeah.
So it's not the loyalty part. And
Build
so this is
loyalty.
kind of, you get your celebrity endorsement and say, hey guys, you know, you're Egyptian, be proud of it. Get yourself a .eg.
So who's the most famous Egyptian? I don't know. Is Omar Sharif Egyptian?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So does Omar Sharif have a website?
No, but then of course
Maybe
they
that's
have
the one
one.
who will be ownership of
Yeah. So why don't you get give Omar Sharif.eg? He's practically a government institution.
Any other ideas about opportunities? You were going to say something?
I took curious last night about if I have some subdomains like blog.eg or something, some users could express themselves in this. We have around 200 blogs, 2,000.
Yeah.
200,000
So here's an idea.
blogs.
There are some blogging platforms out there,
Yes.
right? So Google, for example, go to Google and say, how would you like to help us promote blogs in Egypt?
Or you can talk to me and I'll do it for you. You know, I mean, there's a lot of opportunities. I mean, okay, Google has Blogspot, Tumblr is free and easy to use. WordPress is self-hosted WordPress. You can do multi-site WordPress. There's a lot of opportunities there. You can use like a third-party network, or you can do something and host it in country. There's a lot of opportunities.
So you find if I give it like blog.eg or they have the domain.eg directly.
Well, in an ideal world,
Yes.
in my world is very ideal, somebody would be able to get their handle .eg. I don't like myname.blog.eg. That's
And this might be a good time to do an analysis of other CCTLDs that have third level names, like blog dot whatever or games dot whatever.
I mean, some of them have a couple. Like .nz, for example, has .nz, .co.nz, .org.nz, .geek.nz,
I don't know, but
Can't remember.
TW Taiwan has quite a few. I'm, you know, so I don't know if any of these have been successful.
I don't think they have, personally. I mean, apart from COUK and that kind of thing, I don't see them as being successful. I mean, the thing is, if you're looking at somebody getting them online, you're competing against .com. So why would I register myname.blog.eg when I could register myname.com or myname.blog?
And find it, it's already taken.
But in blog.
Good answer. See, I like it.
I think we don't know. You know, I don't know, for example, and I don't know if you have any data on blog.eg, if that's going a growth market view.
I mean, it could be.
Right? It could be. How many years has that been out?
No, we just think about it.
They haven't
That's
done
the
it.
idea.
So you have, I thought you had a few of these second level names.
They do.
So what do you have today?
.com, .org, .net, .mel, .edu, .de, .name, .sports.
So you have name and sport. So how big are those two?
No, very low.
How long have they been, how many years have they been available?
Just 1 year.
Just 1 year.
Okay.
Okay.
So
We
are
already
they,
have
are
a
they
project
cheaper?
But let me tell you, it's the first time for me to hear about .sports.
Yes.
and,
Okay, and she knows a lot about domains and internet
Yes.
stuff.
what must register.
Monthly.
Okay.
So it's too early to tell if it's appeals to
No
anybody.
one knows about .sports and the other seminars.
Are these on the website?
But I think it's the first time for
Are
me to
these
know that we
domains
are
on the website? At least.
No, I know about the website, but I don't visit it every day. I mean.
Okay, the more important question is this. If you live in Egypt, which websites are you visiting? What domain names are those websites on?
Facebook.com. Facebook
Okay,
and Google.
Let's go. Get out.
So what I would do
So
actually,
I will give some domains in Egypt that I think elections, all of us use it, elections of EG.
yeah,
Once a year.
And there's elections.eg.
Just once a year.
No, you use it for every elections.
When once a year.
Okay.
When are the elections?
Come on, be
I think
nice
we have a
to
project
Johnny.
with,
Yeah.
we have a project with Ministry of Health, and it will succeed for helping people who are suffering from virus C.
Yeah.
And this used very well.
and we're doing the same thing, we're both helping out .us, and they're looking at things like vote.us, parks.us, right, tourism.us. So there are some great websites, I think, that the governments can use to promote parts of their
usage.
country.
I mean, the kind of thing is what I say with .us.
Yes.
They have a bunch of really good domain names that they kind of reserved, and they don't. I mean, they're kind of reserved arbitrarily.
So why not jobs.eg,
Job.
careers.eg? So those are jobs in the government, right?
I mean, why don't you look at, take a leaf out of the book of some of the new TLDs. Think of it as, okay, it's .eg 2.0. So it's a relaunch of the .eg namespace. And you say, okay, we will give you, as a pioneer for .eg, we will give you this super duper domain name. Free, no charge for the first year. And you will help them market and promote it. I mean, jobs.eg is an awesome domain. I don't know, it was Monster,
I was thinking of government job openings. You're saying give it to a private company.
Whatever, I mean, either, what I'm talking about is just getting somebody,
You have a bunch of high premium names, right? So there's
these are high
probably,
value.
there's several dozen premium names that maybe you could put out for tender and say, who in Egypt would like to help us promote jobs.eg? And whoever the biggest job site is in Egypt, have them run it for you and do the marketing for jobs.eg under contract.
I mean, it's, you know, this thing, say for example, the tourism vertical.
Hotels.eg.
Hotels.eg. If you said to me, I will give you hotels.eg, I would be in your office there like a little puppy going, you know. Because I would see that as a massive business opportunity.
I would think about Luxor.eg and Charm.eg. I think Luxor.eg.
Well, exactly, but this is the way you should think. I mean, you should think, say, you take Luxor.eg as an example, or Sharm el-Sheikh.
Yes.
.eg. Okay, Sharm el-Sheikh looks a bit of a mouthful to spell, but okay.
You could say Charm only.
Okay, fine, whatever. This is, you take that as an example. You will find somebody, either somebody in Egypt or outside Egypt, and ultimately it doesn't matter, who will develop a really cool website on that domain. Like Sharm el-Sheikh is aimed at non-Egyptians anyway. It seems to be mainly aimed at, you know, European tourists. So it doesn't matter if it's not an Egyptian Arabic. Who cares? You want somebody using the domain where we go, oh my God, Charm.eg is the place to go for all the information about hotels and flights to Egypt. Or flights.eg, not that one. Hotels.eg though, we mention that to you.
We get 5%.
Yeah. Each.
So, you know, and thinking about your subdomains, you've got sport.ag. You know, if we talked about the .club,
Yes.
TLD, and all the stuff they're doing. I mean, a lot of their messages are directly applicable to sport.ag, right? And maybe you try to get sport teams to adopt that.
I mean, look at what other TLDs have done. Remember, you're marketing in Arabic. So they're not marketing in Arabic. So you can take some of their ideas and adapt it and reuse them. It's perfectly okay.
What are you going to say?
No, I was just the partnerships you added at the end, because again, we want functioning domain names, developed websites.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, it's not just that we give the name and then we have
That's
increased number of domain names.
No,
that are
this is the thing with the way the Pioneer programs work. Is in order for you to participate, you have to say, okay, this is what I'm going to do with the domain name, and you can get them to sign a contract saying they will have a functioning website or something within 30 days or 45 days or whatever.
Something like this. So,
Well, what's more than that, so it's not just giving them domain name. You can say you want a percentage of the revenue. You don't have to just be looking at domain name registration revenue here. You're developing an asset for the country.
You can look at it in a lot of different ways.
This is a travel portal for the entire country. Who wants to help us develop it?
For the IDN CCTLD, this didn't work because we said we are taking part of the revenue, the revenue sharing, the revenue sharing with the local registrars. Then they are not smart in the IDN CCTLD, they don't take revenue, we don't revenue share.
Yeah, but okay, IDN is a different conversation.
I'm just...
It's a very different conversation for a multitude of reasons.
But so this always assumes that you want to open up the second level space. And so I think it may take several years to get there. But the thought is there are some high value websites that would get a lot of traffic. And I guess my point is, the elections idea is great. I wouldn't try to do it all yourself. I wouldn't just try to stay within the government to try to develop some great websites. I would rely on the private sector because they move faster, they'll put more resources into it.
They see it as an opportunity. I mean, you say to me, I'll give you hotels.eg. Oh God, yeah. I mean, I'm off. I'm telling my programmers to drop everything. We're going to do a really funky integration using an XML SOAP API with one of the big booking sites. It'll be geo-IP aware, it'll pick up on the languages, it'll be awesome. I've already got a plan in my head. We'll have it live in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, and you know, and you get 10% of what you can generate off that domain name.
Assuming I agree to that contract.
So there's probably several dozen. So that would get you not only awareness and visibility to the TLD at large, but it'd be a great success story. And it won't take a dime of government money to do it.
I mean, the example...
Right. He'd pay for it.
I'll pay for it. Like the example that you probably talk about tomorrow or some point in .buzz, Las Vegas .buzz, which is amazing, absolutely amazing. This guy, I don't know what he did before, he's set up other websites and things. He set up a bunch of these really cool, really useful, really sticky websites for Vegas using, was it .buzz?
.buzz, yeah.
Or was it .club?
No, it's not that.
Yeah, so like you look at these sites and you just go, ooh, where do I join? So you think of Vegas as a destination. You go to Vegas for 3 or 4 days, all the information about all the best restaurants, the best bars, what to see, where to go, when to go, how to get there. Or another one like coffee.club is another fantastic big success story. It's a premium name. And these guys, you pay us a monthly subscription and they send you coffee. It's awesome.
Yeah. So I like your idea. There are some premium sites that would serve to become assets for the country as a whole. Help drive the economy, raise awareness. Tourism is a great example. Any other thoughts about opportunities over here? Anyone else have an idea about an opportunity?
When you spoke about delegating a zone out, that's what you just spoke about now.
Say that
You
again.
could delegate a zone out to the private sector to manage. Since the government establishment,
So give them a zone, a single domain or a whole
a
zone?
zone, you could delegate a zone
Like sports.eg,
Yeah.
name.eg?
to the private sector to manage. Since they're not for profit, so these guys who are private, you know,
So the idea there is let companies create their own namespaces at the second level.
well, like,
Club.eg. Let's say you want to do what club's doing, but under EG.
Yes.
You would allow someone to develop
private
club.eg.
sector, yeah.
And you know who would do it for you? The .club registry. You say, hey guys, we'd like you to promote .club with our country code. How about a club.eg? In fact, if you look at the list of new TLD, who else is doing this already? There's a bunch of TLDs that are making deals with CCTLDs. Right, so bank, for example. I'm sure a bank wouldn't mind partnering with you to have a bank.eg for your travel methods. .travel, we have travel.ag. So some of these registries are definitely reaching out to CCTLD. I'll try to remember who it is tonight. I'll give you that example tomorrow.
So the thing is this, is like a lot of the GTLD registries, they're looking for a route to market. They want to get in front of, they want eyeballs, they want people to use their product. So, some of them are open to doing all sorts of weird and funky things with country codes, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So I think we can add premium names.
Yes, that's a great idea.
Our premium names are fantastic. We do so much. And the premium name thing is, if you look at the way they've been handled, it isn't just about the money. It's about getting somebody to actively develop and use the domain. So if we're looking at, say, the slide deck from earlier today for .me, there was a couple of bits in there about their premium names. So they've got about.me, for example, is, I don't know how popular that website is, but I know it's very popular. You get emails from people and they have their about.me profile as a link.
About.me, for example, turns out it's just a quick and dirty website building tool.
Yeah.
There's a new one called branded.me, which I just signed up for last weekend. So why not have an about.eg? Same concept. you want your own website, .eg, we can build it for you within 5 minutes.
.uno also did launch something last week. Again, I mean, this is just about getting people to do stuff in the namespace.
All right, we've actually run out of time, so let's hold off on the rest of this.
Yeah.
Make sure you fill out your feedback form if you haven't
Make
already.
sure these aren't removed from the walls.
Yeah, okay. Thanks, guys.
You're the man.
Thank you.
And try to finish that up. What I'd like to talk about today are, again, give you some more examples of some new developments by the new TLDs in terms of what registries are planning to do. Spend some more time on the financial modeling for some of the new TLDs. And then we'll start to get into some of the legal issues related to TLDs. Before I start, any questions or comments? Okay, so you've heard a lot about new TLDs, the past few days, and most of them are just alternatives.com trying to compete in this namespace. But the whole objective of this new TLD program is to bring new innovation and new techniques to the internet as well. So as I mentioned earlier, there's some very big companies like Amazon that have 75 applications. Google has over 100 applications. And some of them are trying to invest a lot into research and development and come up with some new advancements in terms of technology. So one of them, which I thought you'd be interested in, Google has been spending a lot of time. Their engineers have been looking in particular at the IDN problem. And as you know, you have .boss, you have .shabaka. And the IDN, the Arabic IDN has really been a disappointment. People have been working on it for many, many years. And so I think their engineers have spent some time to try to solve that problem. And so I wanted to give you a quick demo of their solution to Arabic IDN, which is pretty cool. If you think of domain names at the beginning with DNS 1.0, IDNs were DNS 2.0. This is kind of the next step in the DNS technology. And if it's successful, the ramifications are huge, right? Because people don't have to use different keyboards. They won't have to, it solves the email problem. And so it's actually pretty fascinating, the stuff they're doing. And fairly sensitive too, because people have invested years in IDNs, and this pretty much makes that obsolete, right? You can stop selling IDNs and start selling their new type of domain names. So what I'm going to show you really isn't well known, but and as I say, I think the sensitivities are fairly obvious once you see it. The latest generation might not get the hang of it, but just like your kids learn new technologies, they'll learn this pretty quickly as well. So I'm going to one of their new TLDs. This is com.google. So what's cool about this is I can do a search for something like shopping, and it comes back with you're used to Arabic going right to left, so you can read this right to left. And this is the replacement for the Arabic IDN. It's all ASCII characters. So it already works today with all the technologies, but none of the problems of Arabic IDN. So it has the potential of being completely disruptive to the Arab world, basically. And what's great about it is all the, they're obviously here to sell advertising. So the advertising is still there, and it solves the IDN problem. So pretty cool. You can stop selling .boss. You can stop selling .idns. This is the DNS 3.0. So I thought I'd give you that quick demo.
Yeah, Tom, I saw this morning. I'm not sure if it does solve the IDN problem. Yeah, so Joe.
Say one first.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I thought you were serious about it, so.
No, but he did deliver it with a very straight face.
Thank you.
Today is April Fool's Day.
Oh, no.
But the thing is, Google own .google. So what they've done is they've launched com.google instead of google.com, and all the text is reversed. It's a mirror image.
It's a joke.
It's a joke, but it's also an example of
And you did it well.
a .brand TLD. He delivered that very well,
Yeah.
a little too well. I could see you walk out taking notes. Like, this is Google's solution to ideas. I'm like, oh, Jesus, fuck.
All right, let's move on. April Fools.
You also saw the, do you all remember Pac-Man? Have you seen what Google has done to Google Maps?
Yes.
You know, and you can turn on the sound as well. It's very addictive. What? You don't like Google Maps?
No, I don't know Google Maps, but I don't know what the relation between Pac-Man and Google Maps.
If you go to Google Maps on your computer, you'll see. You can turn on Pac-Man.
Look at it.
But the fun thing is you can play Pac-Man in your own neighborhood. Literally. Yeah, I've discovered that playing Pac-Man in Cairo is a bad idea because the streets are really, really, really wide. So you end up with 3 lines of dots. So if I switch to playing in Irish streets, it's much easier because the streets are much narrower and go up and down. Sorry, these are strategic things you learn.
All right, so now I really want to get started. We're going to talk about one of the
Being
TLDs.
serious. Harry's not joking.
Yeah, this is serious. This is, and you may not believe it. So .buzz is one of the new TLDs. It's started by a guy in the U.S. from Arkansas, which is in the middle of the U.S., not known for its innovative startup type of activity. .buzz certainly has this term saying, what's new, right? It's the latest and greatest things that are happening. In fact, one of the biggest websites is BuzzFeed.com, which tells you by the second the latest headlines and new trends that are happening. So Bill Dozier has agreed to share with us his marketing plan for 2015. It's not in the handouts because he is somewhat sensitive about it. But he launched last year. He did apply for 3 TLDs. The other 2, he was competing with Google and a few other folks. One is .fun, one is .party. He's not getting those, but he's the only applicant for .buzz. And so he's poured all his energy into launching .buzz. And he did a lot of market research. So he did a lot of work with a university in Arkansas, and all the business students spent months looking at his idea and coming up with creative ways to promote .buzz in the marketplace. So he's already been out, as I say, came out last year, so I think the spring of 2014. So what I'm going to show you is his year 2 business plan, basically, how he plans to promote himself into the marketplace. This seems lower than it was yesterday, isn't it? That's okay. I don't remember it being that well. So this is a Word document, so I'll have to go through, scroll through his document. But basically, here's how he's positioned .buzz in the marketplace. He says, look, you have a message to deliver that is exciting, inspirational, and above all, it just might change the way the world thinks. .buzz is your platform to launch and deliver news, information, and your important message, headlined by a memorable and fully relevant domain name. All right, so that's his positioning in the marketplace. That's how he wants to be seen by everyone. And again, he's comparing himself to other platforms like .com, where oftentimes your message gets lost. And so .buzz helps you stand out. So here's a summary of .buzz. He did go live in April of 2014. .buzz was established to provide premier real estate on the internet for community building organizations to generate buzz. He has launched 9,000 domain names, 6,000 registrations, and approximately 3,000 premium names. So a core part of his business model were to sell off premium names to early adopters so he could raise awareness of .buzz. So this document just talks about, again, what his branding strategy is, his marketing guidelines, what he plans to do to build engagement within his community. So first of all, a little branding 101. A brand is just not the name itself or the logo. The brand is a promise, right? He's building an expectation with his customer about what the brand will deliver for them. That's always good to remind yourself in terms of why you're coming up with a brand name. So his brand summary, why is he talking about it? He wants to make sure that he clarifies the .buzz brand. It helps create the structure for high-level branding and segment-oriented campaigns. So we talked a lot about doing customer segmentation of your marketplace and delivering messages that are appropriate for that marketplace. His emphasis is on segments for growth, those with a strong affinity to buzz. And so all of his communications will address those market segmentations. So brand vision. What is the highest calling of .buzz? He wants to inspire others to think differently in terms of how to deliver the information about their brand. His brand positioning, which means how do we want .buzz to exist in the minds of the consumers? He says, for enthusiasts, evangelists, and thought leaders that need an amplified voice, .buzz is the internet platform that fuels community interest, excitement, and a new experience. His brand personality, he wants to be innovative, community-minded, and expert partner. His brand affiliation, benevolent and forward thinkers who inform and inspire others to new thinking. All right, so this is really his internal document that describes his branding strategy for 2015. So how is he going to execute on this branding strategy? Again, all communications will be based on the fundamental principle that the internet is a communications vehicle to be used by everyone. .buzz will provide an international community for people of all nations to access and utilize the internet. The marketing campaign will be tailored to meet the needs of various target audiences, but the messaging will always be consistent. So he wants to meet market demand for new global domain names to keep pace with the growth of the internet. He wants a smart rollout so that his message can get out quicker and simple, help people promote new web addresses while protecting their existing .com trademarks. He wants an alternative to .com on the global internet. His challenges and barriers. He's created a new category. So registrars, and end users need to be educated as to the benefit and use of such a new product and service. The company's communication will result in a measured consumer response, and through a strategic marketing program, .buzz will attempt to educate and build a community that will help shift the attitude and change the mindset of others. They will define values that are important to the community and incorporate those values in all of their marketing initiatives. You could very easily substitute .buzz for .eg, your IDN. This is a great way to think about how to brand and promote your TLD on the internet. So how does .buzz look at their marketplace and segment their customers? So the first segment is the thought leaders in travel and tourism. Travel and tourism embraces the quality of life for a local community by attracting facilities like restaurants, shops, etc. It's one of the largest and fastest growing economic sectors in the world. So here's a market segment that he did not have a year ago. Legal cannabis is marijuana. So what he discovered was marijuana became legal in 2 U.S. states last year. And he discovered that people were registering .buzz domain names and putting up marijuana e-commerce websites.
Because you get a buzz.
Everyone gets a buzz. Get it? It's a whole new, something he never intended. But now he's going to trade shows, marijuana trade shows. So these are merchants selling marijuana drugs online and selling them .buzz domain names.
Marijuana inside the United States? 2 or 3 states?
Yeah, so the state of Colorado, it's legal, it's a big business now in Colorado. Washington State or Oregon State, you now can legally buy and smoke and grow marijuana. So this is a new market segment for him. As I said, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry building on the idea that people feel a buzz when they smoke marijuana. The honeybee industry, again, bees. He's discovered there's an industry of people who cultivate bees and sell honey, and again, they are a very definable market segment for him for .buzz domain names. So he's examined these customer segments. They're all web-savvy internet users with no existing domain name registrations. So he's discovered a market where they don't already have a .com domain name. Most of them are going to have one domain name per customer. A few will have more than one. So he's building out brand new customers that never bought a domain name before. This is quite a challenge. In year 3, he wants to be at 30,000 names. He's currently at about 10,000 names after 1 year. So his marketing objectives for the year: he wants to introduce the .buzz registry as a must-have for all businesses and individuals in his target segments. He's going to position .buzz as the internet community that communicates benefits and advantages to specific targets. I think he's keying off the word community here, right? He wants to look at people who feel an affinity towards buzz-related news or marijuana or honeybees, and build and create communities out of those market segments. I mean, that came up yesterday about the local culture and how that really is a community. He wants to create a global demand for a new TLD among small and large businesses, as well as individuals, through a coordinated awareness campaign. .buzz will strive to educate the public, create awareness, and appeal for the new .buzz registry, generate excitement, and create a call to action that will translate into trials, sales, and loyalty. He needs to educate the target audience, drive leads to the website, and turn leads into customers. So we have a promotional strategy to get the word about .buzz out to customers, stakeholders, and the broader public. So they're going to utilize a mix of advertising, personal selling referrals, sales promotions, and public relations. So again, his objective here is he's going to create a story around .buzz. So it's a unique value proposition that makes his community stand out among the 1,200 TLDs. And make sure that all the key components of his marketing materials reflect some consistent messaging. So I think he's been very analytical and methodical about how he plans to conduct marketing in 2015. So he talks about his website, he has videos, he has a brand package that distributes to registrars, value-added marketing. So he's helping he's not only trying to reach end users, but also his sales channel here. So he provides a sales tool, a webmaster consultation, custom website design, pre-written content, obviously the .buzz domain name, the logo. So he's trying to go to his target customers and say, we'll deliver a complete package for you. It's not just a domain name, but it's a complete website around your .buzz domain name. Say the word eat, right? So considerations, the price point, the alternatives, the penetration rate by year, the renewal rates. So this person who is a consultant is being paid by these registries to come up with a financial plan for them. So she's coming up with projected cash flows for the registry. You have here 1, 2, and 3. She's identified market segments, right? So again, this is very important in terms of cash flow. You don't want to say, I want 1% of $1 billion market. You need to develop it from the bottom up. So they've identified, here are the market segments for this TLD. We have a generic market, we have recreation, sports, educational, what they call specialty deals, and existing domain names. And so they're broken down by that market segment, how many domain names they want to register in year 1, year 2, and 3. They've figured out their accumulation of domain names, because obviously you have a number, the first number they have 23,932 in the first year. In year 2, they hope to add another 23,000 names. And then you see the accumulation goes from 23,000 to 60,000. So they expect to get a lot of renewals, plus add some new names. In this cash flow, they don't mention anything about what they're expecting from trademark owners, so it looks like it's at 0 at this point. They do have a line item for premium names. So as part of their business model, they're looking to generate revenue from selling these generic names to at a fairly high elevated price. So the build on the cash inflow. So some of the specifics of how the domain name industry works. You can register a domain name from 1 to 10 years, right? And so if someone decides they want a 5-year registration, they pay you 5 years in advance, right? So the cash flow model is great for a domain name industry. Premium names obviously are selling higher than normal prices and may in fact have to renew at that high price. So it's not just $10 every year, it might be $1,000 every year. Sunrise registrations we talked about, which come from trademark holders. They also include an extra fee that you can collect from the trademark owner. And then she talks about the fact that as a registry, they have to pay their back-end registry provider a fee to manage those names. So in year 1, they have, again, 18,000 registrations. They're forecasting there'll be 23,000 actual domain name years, because some domains are registered more than 1 year at a time. So incoming cash, 589,000 for registrations. They project 400,000 from premium names, 118,000 from trademark owners. They have something called land rush. The land rush means typically when they have a phase where there's 3 phases of a typical TLD launch. So the sunrise phase for trademark owners, there's a land rush, and then general availability. Land rush, that middle phase, is where multiple people can apply for the same name. And it's not first come, first serve. They go to auctions and they sell it off to the highest bidder. Right? So that's a land rush type of phase. So typically the high value names that they don't identify as premium, they put it out and let people apply for them, and if there's more than one bidder, they go to the highest bidder. So they expect some revenue from land rush. And so the total cash flow for year one is $1.1 million. Their cost of sales, meaning their back end, that they have to pay to the technology provider, they see that as $77,000. They have to pay ICANN at least $25,000. They're going to pay premium name fees, so they typically have to pay an auction provider or broker to sell those names. So they see themselves as cost of sales of $150,000, and they think they'll have a gross margin of $1 million in year one. So this is they think their most likely scenario. So not bad for year one. And then they project out their cash flow for year 2 and 3, and you see it continues to grow and be positive for the first 3 years.
From the Sunrise registrations, are they also considered as premium names?
No, they're not. So most TLDs are pricing Sunrise the same as general availability, but then they add an application fee.
Yeah, that was my question. So what's the application fee?
Varies.
It varies. It's
No, I'm not talking about the number. What is it in terms of, I mean, what does it mean, application fee?
So Sunrise so in the .e, for example, there are no restrictions in .e. Anyone can get one. In order to register .e during Sunrise, you need to be a trademark owner in the trademark clearinghouse, and so you get this token called the sign mark data file, right? And so now the registrar has extra work to do, because when they submit that registration, not only do they send the domain name and the whois details up to the registry, they also have to send up this SMD file.
Mm-hmm.
And so they justify that extra work by saying there's an application fee to participate in our Sunrise period.
One more question. The premium names, when the registry sets the price for premium names, do registrars also benefit from this? I mean,
Sometimes. So there are different ways of doing it. The registry might sell the premium names themselves directly, and then they can go to whoever bought the name and say, what registrar should we transfer this to? The registrar just gets the name, but they don't necessarily get any of the revenue other than the normal registration fee. Many of the registries are trying to give the registrars a cut of that premium name. So they say, you can sell this premium name from your search page, right? And mark it up 10% or anything you want. So for example, .pharmacy has 3 or 4 pricing tiers for their premium names. So they have set pricing. It's like $2,000, $5,000, $10,000. And if you want to buy that, you can come to Encirca and order that name from Encirca, and I'll add some markup or profit margin over what the fixed price of registry has. But typically, a lot of these registries are going to these conferences for domainers. They're getting auctioned off, and registrars not involved. So that was the revenue side. We'll look at the expense side for a second for this most likely scenario. They're identifying cost of labor. And many of this could be based on existing resources where perhaps they're sharing staff who are already working on existing product lines. Their marketing costs will vary depending on how the registry plans on reaching its end users. So this particular TLD does plan to attend trade shows and run advertising banners on websites. Their legal fees are assumed to be nominal due to the open registry policies. So they require very simple policies and no policing after the fact. So they don't expect to have much in the way of legal fees. So that's another assumption they have. And they do expect the TLD to be profitable every year. So in this case, for labor, they've identified 3 types of staff. They have marketing, customer service, and admin. And so year 1, they think their marketing labor costs have been $2,000, and they show small raises each year. This looks like 1 person in marketing, 1 person customer service, 1 person admin. So they've got a 3-staff registry. And then they have marketing costs. As I said, they plan to go to trade shows. So I think this would include exhibiting at trade shows, the marketing collateral, the travel expense. General and admin are basically your business, the overhead basically of running the business. Legal fees are fairly minimal. They probably outsource that. They have a miscellaneous for other. Escrow is a cost they have to pay to the escrow data provider with an ICANN. And they have a variable cost related to how much volume they do. So they expect their cash outflow to be about $700,000 for year one. So remember, they made just over $1 million. So they expect their positive cash flow to be $500,000 or so in year one. And they see that growing year 2 and year 3. So a pretty optimistic business plan for this TLD right out of the gate.
To be your resellers?
So every registrar has a different model. I don't charge a setup fee. If that's what you're asking, because that would discourage them from signing up. So I'd rather align my interest with theirs, right? So the problem with a setup fee is you're asking for upfront money and then you cannot make it back in sales.
There's different models. Some of the registrars offering a reseller model will charge a one-time setup fee. Others charge it's not really a charge, it's more of a deposit. So you might put a deposit down of, say, $500, $1,000, $10,000. There's different ones.
Right, and a deposit means that as you sell names, the wholesale cost comes out of your deposit. So it's like buying inventory, right? But in terms of, typically you tell your reseller, you know, here's my retail price. I'll give you a discount, so you get to set your own pricing. So if the wholesale is 20 and my retail is 30, I might go to a reseller and say I'll give it to you for 25, right? So you can sell it at the same price I'm doing it at retail, or even be cheaper if you want, because I'm giving you a discounted reselling price.
Or you might give them a volume break as well. So, for example, we offer reseller pricing on .ie domains. So if you are pushing larger volumes of .ies, we'll give you a much better price, because it makes sense. I mean, you're pushing volume, so I don't need to make as much money per unit. But if you're asking about, say, setting up with registrars, expecting registrars to pay a setup fee to sell your TLD, the answer is don't do it, because it won't bother.
I was actually wondering whether a reseller registration is an income, or should be an income on this.
But this is the registry. This is the registry.
Oh, okay.
So the registry does not have resellers. The registry has registrars.
So the registry, remember, there was a wholesale price, I think, of $15 for this case. So they're paid $15 from their ICANN registrars. Okay, that's flat, that's fixed. ICANN registrars have their own business model, where that $15 becomes their cost of goods, and they mark it up, say, to $20 or $30. And so each individual, if a registrar has their act together, they're doing the same sort of financial analysis, whereas they have a wholesale cost they have to cover, and they mark it up.
And the other thing as well is with the new TLDs, we're seeing different billing models. So previously, if you signed up a registrar, the registrar would pay you as the registry, make a deposit up front of between 1,000 and highest one, is it 25,000 or something?
Yeah.
So they'd put a deposit with you, so you would have cash up front that you could play with. In the new TLD space, because there are so many extensions, it's impossible for registrars to put funding on every single TLD. So a lot of them have switched to either offering credit terms or end-of-month billing or something else. So they're not getting in cash in advance of sales. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the key thing is cash is not the same as revenue. That's a key point here. So even if they're getting a deposit of $5,000, they can't call that revenue.
It's not.
They have-
It's money they can play with.